So I'm not sure if it's just me, but I feel like self-employment has become mandatory nowadays. And there's a few reasons that I believe this to be the case, but number one is the jobs. They really don't pay enough anymore. And at this point, you're having to work like 2 to 3 jobs, maybe even 4 to make ends meet as a person. You got your full-time job, part-time job, some type of side hustle, which is a whole, that is basically the first degree of self-employment, the side hustle, working a gig, some type of 1099 work. That is self-employment. And so you're needing a lot of that nowadays. You're needing to see a lot of that in order to get by. And to double down on that, I think the only way to kind of financial freedom, the only way to be in a really good position is to be self-employed in the sense that you have your own business, you're running your own company, and or at least you're having a big service to where you're helping people solve problems in their life, and you're selling people services to help them improve their life and help make things easier for them, help them make more money, which is what businesses basically do, and I think in the most ground sense of it, the most basic sense. But if you're not doing that now and you're trying to work all these different jobs, you're going to get burned out and it's really not going to work. And I just think that the only way to break free is to have some type of self-employment, have some type of brand, some type of skills that you can sell to people, because otherwise you just end up in this position where you're miserable. And I've seen this with myself, obviously, with other people. I just think the job market, it's so tough to even make enough money. And some people do, but it's kind of rare to make enough money to really get by with one job or maybe 2 jobs nowadays. You really have to be raking it in a position. I think you've got to be doing something insane like being a doctor or a lawyer, and then you can kind of be a career employee still. But if you're not, and you're doing something, I don't know, like construction, you're just going to have to really be putting in so much effort. And the crazy part of it is, with construction, that's actually a really good business if you flip it around to be self-employed. Let's say you have your own construction company where you're running your own trucks and stuff like that, your own job sites. I don't know. Again, this is just an example. If you've got that going for you, you're going to have the potential to make way more money than the employee always, and you could be breaking it in, making a killing, especially if you really start to figure out how to construct buildings and you've got all these different projects working for you. You get better and better, and you just make more and more, and it exponentially grows from all the projects and stuff that you're taking on as your business. And you can make millions of dollars, I would think, being like an owner of a construction business that ends up being very successful. But again, you're trying to be the career employee. Maybe back in the day you could work construction in the right spot, you learn a few different skills, and you've got things rolling for you, and you can make a career out of that and a good living. But just, it's not the case anymore, and you've got to now work 16 different construction jobs to make ends meet, and that's really not going to work because your body is just going to get dragged down by that. And so you find yourself in a lot of trouble, and that seems to be, to me, the reason that self-employment has become mandatory. It's not doable anymore. The jobs that don't pay enough, you're just not making enough money. And when you look at the top, the people that are really raking it in, they all seem to be self-employed. They all seem to be doing their own thing, having their own business at the top of it. And as much as I hate to say it, it's almost a have and have not world. Like it's getting more and more to the point where you either have all the money or you have none of the money. And the people that have all the money are typically those that are self-employed, running their own business, sitting at the top as a CEO or something like that. And I think your only chance to be able to get there and achieve that kind of freedom is through being self-employed. So it's kind of become mandatory at this point. I think you would start obviously doing like gigs and freelance work to see how you can basically dip your toes into the world of it. But I'm with everybody else who is trying to figure out a way to basically sell my skills, maybe run some different businesses, get involved with that, figure out how exactly I can make that a bigger part of my life. Because right now the job market, trying to run through just jobs and save up money through that and make a good life with that, it's basically impossible. And it's just not going to happen anymore, as much as I hate to say it. Again, unless you're like in a very specific spot, you've got some specific circumstance where you're making insane money at a job, of course those people. But for the most part, for like 99% of people, you better have some form of self-employment. So those are just my thoughts, guys, on the current state, a little bit of the job market, but also why I believe you got to be self-employed nowadays to really be making a living, or I guess making a really good living, sort of making a killing, getting financial freedom, stuff like that, working your way out of this economy. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also check out the social media on screen if you haven't already. Got a big announcement coming there and some content over on the other channel attached to that. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.